without further ado, I'm going to pull up one that I did recently that I'm closing on next Tuesday. And I'll just show you guys and walk through exactly what happened. And like I said, this was a really sweet deal for me because I thought I was only going to make 6,000, and I usually have a minimum of $10,000 profit or more per deal. So for me to make 6,000, that means I took a really big hit. And it was the only reason I took that amount was because we were negotiating at that point. And I forgot that I took a look, I talked to my agent. Let me back up. So we got an offer within 7 days of this property. I went to my agent and I said, look, I'm not going to make a lot at this offer. Can we go back up? Because it was a really low ball offer. And it took us another 7 days to negotiate. And I only lost like $5,000 on a $50,000 sale price. So let me go ahead and share, and I will explain this a little bit further. All right, so let me know if you can see the Redfin screen here.
Yep, yes.
Okay, so this is the lot that I bought in Osceola County 2 months ago. And this is the one I was supposed to be closing on today. We found out that the title company that told me they were going to take the tax title certificate from the clearing service, they switched insurance companies and now they don't. So we went and found another company and they said they could close within 7 days, which is great because they still have to do their title search on their end because they don't want to take the risk unless we actually have it cleared. So we're getting the certificate. They're going to send it to the title company and we're going to close on Tuesday completely from home. Okay. So they're sending me an online notary. I don't even have to wait for a notary or schedule one. The buyer is doing everything online and I never even visited this property. Okay. So I went to Orlando recently and was going to swing by here and just didn't get the chance, but I don't need to, right? So my agent, I use an agent and he takes anywhere from 8 to 10% depending on the deal. And he goes and he hires a drone photographer. He has graphic design, spots made as far as the lot lines. You can see, so this is my undeveloped lot that I bought, okay? I can already see that there's mobile homes next to it, but this is actually a really, really good neighborhood. And I know that because I did my due diligence beforehand, okay? So I knew going into this what my top price was going to be, and I'll go into that in just a second. But here is my undeveloped land. And what we did, I'll pull up my data sheet here for you, my finance sheet. So I purchased this on May 20th, guys. We went to market 10 days later. So we had to do the drone photography. We had to get the MLS listing done, all the fun stuff. But we went on market on May 30th. On June 16th. Okay, so 16 days later, 17 days later is when we actually went under contract. But I like to say 14 days because it did take him 3 days to sign it. Okay, so in 2 weeks, I went under contract with this property. We are selling it, like I said, next week. So my days on market is 17 up to the contract, and I've only held it for 56 days. Okay, so in 60 days, I'll go through the numbers in just a bit. But in 60 days, I made $10,000. Okay, that's not a bad paycheck, right, guys? So this is not abnormal. This is a normal deal for the way that I do things and the way that I have my bidding and everything like that. Not all of them are going to look like this, but yeah, it's a $10,000 paycheck. So I'm not crying for the fact that we have to wait another week or that I accidentally miscalculated because I thought we were taking a lower offer. But, with that said, do you guys have any questions before I go? Do you want me to go into the actual breakdown of all the expenses and everything for you guys? Would that help you?
I have a question.
Mhm.
What do you mean by HELOC interest?
So I have a home equity line of credit. If anybody doesn't know what that is, home equity. Yeah, home equity.
I got you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So I pay for, I fund all my deals through my HELOC, my home equity line of credit. And the interest on that is like anywhere between 6 to 8%. So I know I'm going to be making that up. So as soon as I sell this, I will pay back that and it'll be pure profit. So I'm only paying $385 to borrow money on my home.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Feel free to stop me if you guys have questions while I'm rolling through this. All right, so As far as the expenses go, so you can see I kind of break it out. I have my acquisition and title clearing fees. So my original purchase was 29.1. Okay, and I'll just in case anybody has any doubts about that, here is the actual tax deed. Okay, so you can see I bought it for $29,100 on May 20th. Okay, this is Osceola County. And the auction fees for that, so the auction fees, they will add up is, I have that on my other sheet here. So we bought it for 29.1. Doc stamps were $203.70, and then they charge a recording fee of $10. So I sent them $29,313.70 with a cashier's check. And I would make sure you guys make that as exact as possible because they will return it and you may lose your total deposit because of that. They're very, very, very they are sticklers for exact amounts. Obviously, we're dealing with the government. All right. So auction fees were 213. This TTS deposit, that's tax title services. That's who I mentioned earlier is clearing my title. So I've paid them $775. I was hoping today it would come back cleared, but I think we're going to look at it tomorrow. And tomorrow they'll send me a bill for the remaining $1,175. And after that point, they will send that certificate. Literally, they will mail it. They'll FedEx it, a physical copy of a certificate to my title company, and then we can close. All right. So, and as I just mentioned, I've got the HELOC interest of $385. So my total all-in fee right now, before I even list it, is $31,649.20. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. Awesome. So it's, of course, with the title fees, if anybody has ever closed a property, it's very similar to closing a house. Okay, you've got your taxes that are due for this year that you split with the buyer depending on the closing date. Sometimes you have a notary or a courier fee. This is all the title company's charges. So they're still going to charge me a title search fee, even though Tax Title Services did their title search fee. The title company still wants to do one just in case. Now they're going to get paid $575 to do the closing for me. And then they actually pay another company to do the municipal lien search. Okay, so all in, I'm paying the title company about $1,065. Okay, so that's what it cost me to use this title company. Additionally, I'm offering insurance. So my title insurance is going to be 0.5% of the sales price, which is $273. Okay. Additionally, the deed state doc stamps, it's a mouthful. These are actually going to the government. This is what they charge anytime you transfer a property. That is 0.7%, and it's $332. So my title fees right now are about $1,869.50. So I'll pause right there. Does anybody have any questions about that one? All right, going back down. So after that, I pay an agent. Okay, I really don't like to deal with buyers. I like to just give it away, and I know this costs me a lot, right? So this is costing me $3,800 of my profit, but my agent is amazing, and he deals with so much crap that I just would never want to deal with, and I would rather just buy more properties, right? So my time is taken up doing more data and buying more properties and looking at more auctions. So you don't have to use an agent. Like we discussed earlier, Lola, you can use a flat fee listing service for $100 to $300 usually, and you can take the calls yourself, or you can go just a free avenue route and post it on Facebook. You know what I mean? If you're just trying to get rid of it, you can post it wherever. But like I said, I like to list it on the MLS really cheap, like 90% of value, just to turn it over and do another property. Okay. I like to flip as many properties as possible every year. So my agent commission is 8%. It could go anywhere between 8 to 10. So my agent is making $3,800. And that leads us to our total expenses and closing costs. So right now to close, it's costing me $37,318. I originally listed it at $49,900. Now I only took $1,500 off. Okay. So we negotiated pretty well. Like I said, my agent's amazing. So we ended up under contract. Originally the offer was $30,000. And I'm like, no, that's not right. So we came back significantly, and they actually met us in the middle. So I think they came back at 45. We met at 47.5 and it was signed 3 days later. So you can see my net profit and the entire deal is just above 10,000, which I'm super excited about that it's not below because I love having 5 digits. It's so much nicer. And then the ROI in, what was it, 56 days, I've made 27% ROI. So like I said, not a bad payday at all for this one. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So do you guys have any questions on that review of this one? Because I have another one coming up. I'm probably going to do a video about, but I haven't got it under contract yet. But that one should be about a $16,000 profit. And that was actually done on the same auction that this one was.
Do you use the same realtor regardless of, where the property's located? He goes out then and makes all these things happen, like drone pictures and all that stuff, regardless of where it's at.
Yeah, what's great about the vacant land situation is we don't have to visit the property, right? That's why I always say you can do everything from your couch. And literally, he doesn't ever visit the property because there's nothing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he works all throughout Florida, which any Florida registered agent will. And you just hire a drone photographer, a graphic design person will make your design and list it on the MLS, and it's done. Right? So there's really not a lot for them to do other than take the phone calls.
That's incredible.
So Bruce, you sound ready to jump in.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I got to admit, this is really interesting stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So we do have 20 more minutes. I did have a couple of questions I almost forgot from the Facebook chat. Jay asked, where's the first place to start? And the best place to start is exactly right here, what you're doing right now, watching this video and educating yourself. I always say that. Even I'm constantly taking courses and coaching and things like that and learning from other people. And I highly, highly recommend everybody do that, right? So I went and I got my MBA and I was very hesitant about that because I know I could make more money, but I also knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I didn't know if it was going to help me. And, it's just like with anything, the more you know, the better you get, as a human being in general. So I would say the first thing you do is educate yourself. Okay, what you're doing, look at the YouTube, whatever. I just don't want you guys to get worried about analysis paralysis. The second thing I want you to do is make a goal to act. Okay, do something. Take a course, listen to somebody else, listen to a podcast, go ahead and register, just even register for one of these counties auctions and kind of do like a mock bid situation. Okay. So like I've actually I'm creating a course right now where I'm going to do a mock bid situation, which I thought was really cool. So I heard a lot of feedback from that. And basically you are bidding, but you're not taking the risk. And Bruce, I forgot to mention that to you on the other day when we were on the phone that, I think that's going to be really, really good for you. And a lot of the newbies coming in that are a little bit worried to jump in and lose their money. Because it's going to show you exactly what to do. So I'm super excited about that. So, that's, like I said, it's the first thing you got to do is just jump in, guys. Educate yourself and jump in. Okay. Just make sure you don't lose money. And there's really not the only way to lose money on a deed is if you don't price it right in the beginning and you bid too high or you missed a lien. Okay. Always, always, always look at the liens. Okay. Find a title search. If the county doesn't provide one, which a lot of them do, you can hire, a title search company. You can do your own if there's public records online. So there's a lot of ways you can do that. And that's the two things that I would say if you get out of this is don't overprice, like don't overbid, I should say. Don't overbid and don't buy something with terrible liens. Okay. So good advice, right? I will say the only time I ever lost money on a tax deed was actually a mobile home, and it had nothing to do with the price or the liens. The mobile home was absolutely crap. And when I drove by it, obviously you can't go in, but when I drove by it, it looked great. I was super excited. It was like a double wide. It was in the 1980s, so I knew it was up to code, technically for passing the HUD restrictions. But it was next to power lines, which I didn't think was going to be such an issue. Apparently you get cancer from power lines, according to like 99% of the buyers. So I thought it was cool because you could take your ATVs and just, ride up the power lines whenever you want. But I guess I'm a little out there for that. So I want to give you guys something. And with that said, I created a PDF, basically a whole book about the top 21 questions that I get asked about tax deeds. Okay. So instead of selling you guys something, I want to give you away. I want to give away this for free. Okay. So if you're watching this and you have any questions, they're probably going to be on this list. Okay. So if you want to get this, you can just go to floridataxinvestors.com/21 questions. And these are the 21 burning questions that everybody asks me. All right. So it's pretty nifty. I'm pretty proud of it. You know, I spent a lot of time on this. It's not just like a list that you get in your email. It's really, really neat, guys. And I'm hoping that you guys get a lot of information from this and move forward with whatever you're doing.